Remember that Jinshi has also commented that Basen is from the, what was it, the Ma clan? They had special abilities of some sort, I think he said. Or the special bloodline of some sort. Hey everybody, welcome back to another Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, and we are back with some more Apothecary Diaries. First things first, we do have a comment. Kelvin from the Patreon, from the episode Raw Fish. Jinshi's cheek mark was an imprint left when he was pressing his face to the door, trying to listen to Maomao's lessons. No big significance to it. It was just meant to be a funny ha-ha, he was really trying hard to listen in gag. Regarding Maomao doing servant jobs when Jinshi said she wasn't going to, well, that was before she failed the court lady exam. However, she failed it, so Jinshi's plan for her, whatever that may have been, probably has changed. It hasn't directly been addressed up to this point, but that's what I'd assume. Maomao knows about the guy I took screenshots of. I'm unsure whether the banter between Maomao and Jinshi in the Maomao no Hitorigoto shorts is actually canon or not, so I personally wouldn't put that much stock into it unless said in the main series. I may be wrong though, this is actually my first time ever seeing them. To be honest, I didn't even know they existed before you mentioned them. So a couple of things. The ha-ha, he was really trying to listen in gag, it just didn't make sense to me from a animation standpoint, right? That you would show us he is bruised and then just immediately get rid of it. But of course, last episode, they do the thing where he bashes his head against a pole, bruise, goes away immediately. So maybe that's the more cartoony aspect of the show that I just didn't get used to and then was suddenly in front of me and it confused me. The servant jobs thing, as you said, it hasn't been brought up. He says it out loud once that you're not going to become a servant like that, and then instantly she is a servant like that. I would think that if it's not going to be a thing, then I don't know. Make it a course of events, right? The fact that she then fails, Jinshi should have had like a throwaway line, just a quick, well, I guess we're not going to do that then. You know, something to let us know that his plan has changed. Because otherwise it just seems like a weird inversion. Like, you're not going to be a servant girl. I'm a liar. I don't know. It just seems weird. To your comment though about the guy that I took screenshots of. Very weird way to say that, by the way. Well, the guy I took screenshots of. It sounds like I'm some sort of like guy out in the bushes taking pictures of people in their houses. I have been treating the Maomao's notes stuff as applying to what is happening in the show, right? If Jinshi acknowledges a thing that Jinshi has not acknowledged in the show, then I treat that as, oh, Jinshi knows. Because, I don't know, it is the same characters, it's the same voice actors, I assume it's being written by the same people. That this is added knowledge, right? I would assume that stuff in Maomao's notes is as true as stuff from the manga. I don't know why, it's just how I'm treating it. As for the last thing you wrote, though, it's your first time seeing them. I didn't even know they existed before you mentioned them. I don't know, that feels like spoilers to me, in the sense of you've seen it all already. Like, you've given me context before about stuff in the manga, I believe. So the fact that you're saying you didn't even know they existed, whereas in my head, they are now, I don't know, I wouldn't say they're linchpins to a theory, but they are, at the very least, connective tissues in the ideas that I have been formulating about things that are happening, specifically background conspiracy stuff. that you're saying that they're so nobody that you didn't even remember that they existed or ever knew that they existed is to imply to me that they are not important or not part of any conspiracy at all, which itself is then telling me don't pay attention to them anymore because it's pointless because they don't do anything. So, sorry, I understand that's not the point of why you wrote that, but I'm pointing out that it's very easy to spoil stuff. Because if you're not thinking that you're spoiling, at the same time, I can also be like reading into what you're saying or see what you're saying in a different light immediately. So, from the perspective of, oh, I never noticed those guys before, all I'm thinking now is, huh, I guess that means in the future there's no reveal about who they are. Because you would remember them, right? Anyway, that was the note. We, of course, have a board. And the board changelog, which is really only I connected lock-on to Gaoshun with a white line, specifically because they are colleagues, according to Gaoshun. I have a note about that in a minute, but that's really the only change. Obviously, I apologize for the sad state of affairs that is the board at the moment. I have kept the original board, or the original section, only because it's if I ever need to change anything else, I can base everything off my thoughts on that. Otherwise, I'm still developing the board on the bottom, which I do not like the look of. So I'm still taking input if you got a better idea. Otherwise, it's still a whole lot of me trying to figure out board layouts and how I think best conveys the character relationships. Um, it works. It works really well in a show with multiple factions. In a show with just a couple of factions or mystery, really hard for me to figure it out. So again, I apologize for the board layout. We'll still be figuring it out. Otherwise, though, I do have my notes, as I mentioned. Interesting that Lakan is a colleague of Gaoshun, yet Jinshi suggests that Lakan is a high official in the military. Reminding me of my episode 6 notes, where I pointed out the seating arrangements during the garden party, where I asserted that Gaoshun was the minister that drank the poison and passed out. If I was right back then this all still makes sense. That Lakan would be a high official in the military and a colleague of Gaoshun, who is himself a minister of the court, therefore also a high-ranking official. Something that loses me is why the show makes a connection to an incident that occurred 10 years ago. The current case that's happening seems pretty well covered by all the facts in front of us. Maybe it answers something for Gao Shun, like the possibility of who had committed the previous acts, but we are not introduced to any of that story's resolution either. It just seems like a strange way to introduce this case to Maomao, so much so that there must be something more here that I am missing. Like maybe we're going to discover that 10 years ago is something also very important. Because we have the time frame of Jinshi and his birth and the separation of the kids from their parents, whatnot. But that doesn't line up with what might have happened 10 years ago. So again, just putting thoughts out there, trying to think it through. Yet another South reference. This time the seaweed comes from the South. At this point, I've marked down 5 different references to the South. Across the entirety of the show, I mean. It's one of the 4 directions, but 4 cardinal directions, but it's a direction the characters bring up time and time again. Nothing comes from the west or the north, just south and east, and then mostly south. So something I misunderstood during the episode, and not sure I ever corrected myself about. LimeWire is an old way to download music and stuff. The lime water was an agent to detoxify the seaweed. I think I said something to the effect of the lime water made it poisonous, which was clearly wrong. I think my obvious connection to who the younger brother met at the tavern would have to be the mysterious person I'm also trying to connect with Conan's salt poisoning. It seems likely that all those shots we see where I've put those people together as the same person is the same shot we see in this episode, just darker for some reason. And my last note, for some reason, when Lock-On starts talking about what he did, my mind wandered to the annex that was mentioned in episode 8. A room that Maomao declined to visit on her return home. That is given weight in the scene, but not actually explained. I assumed that it might have been someone's ashes or something, but what if that is where the courtesan that Lacan couldn't buy is at? I don't know. For some reason, I'm getting like less and less noteworthy stuff as I rewatch the episodes. That might not even be a product of the show. I think I've indicated the new medicines I'm on have made me a bit more foggy in the head, a little less receptive to absorbing new information. But at the same time, I feel like we're at the beginning of a brand new plot line, and that brand new plot line is just slowly opening itself up to us. Whereas the previous plot line was just a bunch of information gathering segments that had kind of their own reveals, but not a very particular specific path we were going down, of course, until the whole baby death thing, right? Whereas this time I feel like events are at play with consequence, and we have to figure out what is happening before said consequence happens. So in that way, less notes, but more of an eye towards figuring it out before anything happens. That said, though, those are my notes. Nothing left to do here but to hop on in and see what we get.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
And of course, the opening is still throwing me. I did that whole breakdown of what everything in the opening I thought meant to where the show was going to be going. And the element there that I feel like I was completely wrong about Lock-On and what he is up to, or at least his relationships, is making me second guess a lot of stuff. But at the same time, I was right about other things. Like, I guessed that Jinshi was pushing a emetic into her mouth because she probably ate poison. And that happened, right? I guessed about the whole storehouse burning down and what that probably meant. And that came to play. But then Lock-On turned to be a fucking horrible person. Whereas I was guessing he was just a man in love or something. I'm still suspecting that we're going to get a Jinshi flashback, maybe not episode, but thing, where we're going to see him as a younger man in love, and then possibly something happened to that love interest in the past. Because I just do not believe that is Maomao in the alleyway with him.
ちと面倒なことなんだが。
いつもなら有無を言わせず面倒ごとを持ってくるのに、人士様にあるまじきセリフだな。何でしょうか。
実は俺の知り合いのそのまた知り合いの揉め事なんだが。宮廷御用達の。
Oh, okay. I'm gonna say I didn't. Oh, sorry. Lock-On brought this to him, and now he's introducing this to her because Lock-On wants her to investigate it. I was thrown by the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon we were going through here.
単に言ってのけるな。それに、なんだか妙に乗り気じゃないか？
そうでしょうか。
Does she have a particular interest in metallurgy that we've never been expressed before?
皆弟子をしており、父親が死んだ後はそのうちの誰かが御用達になると言われている。父親が残した遺言には形見分けの品が書かれていた。長男には離れの作業小屋、次男には細工の施された家具、三男には金魚鉢。
So the fishbowl is going to have the instructions about how to do everything in it. So the youngest son was actually going to get the real inheritance.
ずいぶん意味深な遺言ですね。そのままの意味なのか、それとも別の意味があるのか。
I mean, that's my guess. I'm throwing that out there ahead of the episode.
それに、形見分けにもかなり格差があります。小屋と家具と金魚鉢となると、どう見ても下の子ほど損をしている気がする。どういう品なのでしょうか？
そこまで詳しくは聞いていない。ただ、
もし気になるようでしたら、こちらが住所です。
I don't know what to think about the fact that Jinshi is pushing this as though it was his own thing, based on Lakan's insistence about that he do it.
こうなることを読んでいたみたいだ。面白い。明日お時間をいただけるのであれば。戻ったら仕事を増やされるんだろうな。
I appreciate that she's thinking about Jinshi's involvement in this and how prepared he was for it to happen.
前もそうだったが、お前はお付きという形だ。勝手に動くなよ。
わかりました。前もそうだったが、必要最低限しか話せない。
Remember that Jinshi has also commented that Basen is from the, what was it, the Ma clan? They had special abilities of some sort, I think he said. Or the special bloodline of some sort.
馬仙様ですね。お話は聞いています。ああ、それは父のものです。妙なものを集める趣味がありまして。
あれが作業
Has no meaning for me. Unfortunately, it's like the flowers from the
といって
beginning.
も今は母屋で作業をしていて、職人たちの茶飲み場になっているんです。どうぞ。兄さんたち連れてきたよ。
おう、わざわざどうも。
兄さんたちということは案内役が末っ子ということか。
変わった家具の配置だ。
Oddly, the one who got the least inheritance is the happiest one.
確かに普通こんな真ん中に置いたら邪魔だろう。それでも部屋の見た目が悪くないのはテーブルの配置の妙な統一感とタンスの洒落た雰囲気のせいか。
Reminds me of a smaller version of the medicine seller's backpack
角には
from
彫金
Mononoke.
系がはめられている。一番上の3列とその下の中央の引き出しに鍵穴。ここだけアクセントに違う金属が使われて。動かないように固定されてる。
おい、それは俺のもんだ。見るのはいいが、触るんじゃないぞ。
This isn't the shack, though. They said the shack is somewhere else. So it's not like his inheritance was bolted to the floor of a place the other person
この
got.
男が次男なのだろう。ならば残る長身の男が長男ということになる。窓の位置も変わってるな。西洋風で妙に長い窓。せっかく日がたくさん入る作りなのに、外にある大きな栗の木のせいで台無しにされている。部屋に入る光を
You know, clearly all things that are going to be clues later on.
この一箇所だけか。この後、長い間何かが置かれていたのか。
本当にわかるんですかね。親父の残したものについて。
Well, the fishbowl had a round bottom, so that can't be what was there.
話をもっと詳しく聞かせてもらわないと何とも言えない。
もう聞いての通りですよ。親父は秘伝の技術を教えずにあの世へ行っちまった。でもって、
Oh, this is the shack. Okay. So the other person's inheritance is bolted to the floor of the other person's inheritance.
それだと3人の形見分けの品はそれぞれに価値
I
が
mean,
あ
I
る
would
と言え
think
る
put
だ
the
ろう。
fishbowl in the way of the light, see if it illuminates something.
せっかく形見としてもらっても鍵は一つしかないし鍵穴に入りやしねえ。
鍵穴に入らない。
多分これが中央の引き出しの鍵なんだが穴に入らねえんだよ。上の3つの引き出しは全部同じ鍵で開くらしいけど。
This is legit one of those puzzle games.
これじゃ形見をもらった意味がねえよ。
俺だって小屋をもらってもタンスを動かせないんじゃ邪魔で仕方ない。まったくいい迷惑だ。
親父は
Bolted to the floor.
親父は僕たちに
Again, the thing that's throwing me is that the fishbowl has a round bottom,
そうだぜ。
and the thing on that table was square.
食うには困らない金にはなるぞ。
親父もわけがわかんないぜ。
今さらみんなで茶会をして何になるんだ。
はてはてどうしたものか。兄2人と末っ子
Is he gonna be put the rock in the fishbowl and let the light shine off of it?
お客様の前でみっともないですよ。ごめんなさいね。
But what would the light reflect onto?
長男も次男もひねくれてしまって。
Something on the chest that doesn't seem like a keyhole, but will be?
親というものは子がいくつになっても気苦労が絶えないんだな。
お茶をどうぞ。では。
I guess maybe it could reflect on every drawer except the drawer that you didn't think had a lock on it.
全員わざわざ移動して座ったということは 定位置が決まっているんだろう。窓の前を避けてるのはただの習慣か。ちょうどこの時間は窓から光が差しているし、もう少し光が伸びたらタンスに当たりそうだが、タンスに日焼けの跡はなかった。焼けた跡？
Of course not. Not if the dad was sitting there.
日が当たるのはそんなに長い時間じゃない。
Look, I played enough Myst, 13th Guest, games of that nature, hidden picture games.
中に何か詰まってる。
何か分かったのか。
誰かに似ていると思ったら、こいつはガウシュに似ているのだな。
Does he?
それで。
I mean, Gaoshin was in that scene where Jinshi's talking about the Ma clan to Ba Sing before.
親父が細工しているうちに開かなくなっちまったらしい。
鍵は一つ。
これしかねえよ。
Of course, he hid the thing in there. He's the last one to work on it.
物も壊れるとか言ってよ。強引に開けるわけにもいかないんだ。
兄弟たちにそれぞれ渡された形見の品、小屋、タンス、金魚鉢。
It's meant to keep them all together. That's obviously the other part of it.
そして
皆昔のように茶会でもするといい。
I'm assuming Lockon gave him that piece of intel.
もしかして
Oh, it has a square bottom. I did notice that.
すみません。金魚鉢はもともとあそこの棚に飾っていたのではないですか？
そうですけど。
So obviously I was right about the fishbowl and the light
ここに置
thing.
いていたんです。寒くなると死んでしまうので、冬場は茶会をする暖かい昼間だけ。ちょうど今みたいな時間です。ここ数年は金魚を飼うこともなく、ただの置物になってますけど。
おい、お前。
ちょっと水をもらいに行ってきます。
Okay, the water diffuses it. Maybe I was wrong about the rock thing.
昔はこうやって水を入れていたと。
Did you only have tea parties around this time of day, though? Because again, the amount of light coming through at what specific times of day.
やっぱり。
おい、なんだこれ。
触るな。すみません。目に入ると失明してしまいます。あと邪魔なので離れてください。鍵が開き
Yeah,
ませ
but
ん。
where's it hitting on the chest? Does it heat up the lock that makes it easier to turn the key?
栗の木の影に入ったようですね。熱い。それに妙な匂いがする。
Something was in the lock, blocking the key from
では
actually
先ほ
fitting?
どの鍵でこの引き出しを開けてください。
だから入らないって言ってるだろうが。
どうぞ。
どういうことだ？
もしかしてお父上は貧血や腹痛などを繰り返していませんでしたか？
はい、そうですが。
他に吐き気や気鬱なども
ありました。
私は腸筋細工についてよく知りませんが、ここではハンダも使っているのでしょうか？
ええ、使ってます。
He poisoned himself with,
私はただ皆で昔と同じように茶会をしろという遺言に従っただけです。鍵の鋳型ですね。
oh, obviously,
型
lead
から入れ
poisoning.
てもよろしいでしょうか？
In the name of the episode.
まだ少し暖かい。それに柔らかい。鍵穴に詰まっていた金属が熱で溶けて、その下の型に流れて固まったのだろう。
あ、いたぞ。
中身は？
なんだこりゃ。
The secrets of
青
metallurgy.
みがかった結晶は玄関先に飾られていたものと同じみたいだ。
さあ、何がみんな仲良くだよ。結局親父の最後のいたずらに振り回されて終わりかよ。
やってらんねえ。
鉛と鈴。
To make
技
steel?
は見て盗めとか
Lead
職人
and
気質
tin
の
makes
達
steel,
人
doesn't
が
it?
昔言ってたな。それを真に受けて親父が取ってきた薬草を見よう見まねで煎じて中毒を起こして
まずは聞きなさい。
と諭されたこともある。おそらく死んだ父親の意図を理解できたのは末っ子だけだろう。ハンダは数種類の金属を混ぜ合わせることで
Well, that's what I said. I thought the youngest son was actually going to be the one who inherited everything. But it looks like he meant for all three of his sons to inherit
鉛と鈴
together.
そしてもう一つの塊を合わせることで新しい金属ができるとすればどうだろう。しかも金魚鉢で集約した光の熱とはいえ刺して当たった時間は長くなかった。それだけ溶ける温度が低いということだ。大きさが違う引き出しは配合の比率に関係
It
してい
doesn't
る
feel
の
like
か
the
も
work
しれ
of
ない
somebody who's dealing with amnesia and depression.
口を出す必要はない。
This is way well too thought out.
行くぞ。
親父に期待して損したぜ。
待ってよ兄さん。
あ？
いたずらなんかじゃない。
だったらなんだってんだよ。
やっぱり親父は僕たち兄弟に仲良くしてほしくて遺言を残したんだ。
あ？
だから僕は
This is the kind of stuff I would dream about leaving a will
兄さん
about.
たちと一緒にやっていきたい。
If I could, I would leave somebody like a fucking treasure map to have a Goonies type adventure after I
俺
die.
たちと笑わせんな。お前は俺たちとは違う。
才能のあるお前は親父に特別に可愛がられてたからな。
そんなことない。親父は兄さんたちのことを信頼していた。いつも僕に言ってたんだ。ちゃん兄さんはいつも冷静で細かな作業も正確にこなす。ミスがないから何だって任せられるって。ツー兄さんは人の心をつかむのがうまい。誰とでも打ち解けられるのは兄さんの誇れる才能だって。親父は僕たち兄弟の
I mean,
同じように
this is a pretty good final message to your kids. Although, granted, probably should have been able to give this message to them yourself
少なくとも僕はそう
while you were alive.
失礼。
すみません。
父親。まあ、私には関係ないことだ。
ありがとうございました。
だけどこれだけは伝えておこう。
おい。
花町の六章館という棚にルオメンというクス師がいます。医術の腕も確かなので、何か体調が悪いようであれば訪ねてみてください。
Again, I think lead poisoning is going to be the thing. Also weird how this arc is turning into advertisements for Lumen.
先日はどうも。いやはや、なかなか面白いことになったよ。やはりあの三兄弟、一番できるのは末の息子だったようですね。
軍師殿には分かっていたのだろう。
あの後、末っ子がめきめ
I
きと
mean,
力を見
to
せ
be fair, it wasn't that hard of a...
後継者になって宮廷に出す細工を扱う。
If I could figure it out, it wasn't that hard.
長男と次男は今回の件で職人から足を洗うことにしたそうです。
それは
何？悪いことではないでしょう。死んだ父親の思いを汲み取ったとでも言いますか。長男は売り上げの管理。
I don't know, I would say, couldn't figure out what the oldest one was going to do, given that he was good at not making mistakes.
家業を支えることにしたそうです。まあ要するに適材適所に落ち着いたということですな。
屋敷で何があったかはわからない。きっとあのクス氏の娘は知ってて黙っているだろう。
最後に先代が作った細工
And yet Lacan's intelligence network or whatever,
金具でしたが、最後にあの
pretty
細
good.
工を使うと映えるでしょうな。
そうですね。いやらしい男だ。本来私の立場に細具など関係ないと分かっているだろう。
I mean, he also wasn't giving us the information that he said we would last
い
episode.
や何、埋もれた才能をそのままにしておくのはもったいないと思いまして。兄弟など関係ない。才能があるなら目をかけてやるべきだろうとね。
Oh, Basin is Gao Shun's younger brother, is that it?
一理ある。ラカンはうさんくさい男だが。
Or is he indicating towards Jinshi and he knows the relationship between him and the Emperor?
現在の地位に上り詰めたと言ってもいい。ところで、前の話の続きを聞きたいのですが。
Oh, there we go. That's what I was referencing.
前の話と言いますと、
以前聞いた妓女の話ですよ。
ああ、妓女の希少価値を下げる方法ですか。
Yep. Let's hear about how an evil bastard you are.
そういうことは、その世界を知る者に聞いた方が早い。いやはや、もう
You said you would tell us. Don't be that fucking evil.
これは部屋付きの女官たちにでもあげてくだされ。甘すぎない飲みやすい口ですから。
I wouldn't.
では、また明日。
And after I ruined a person to make them viable.
ジン様。お疲れのところ恐縮ですが。
お呼びでしょうか。
お前は化粧に詳しいか?
Oh, is this going to be that scene from the opening where I said that they all looked very funny at Jinshi and she has something in her hand? Oh, next time, I guess. Very specifically, there was a scene in my opening breakdown that I mentioned where Jinshi is sitting in a chair, say like this. On the table beside him is a bunch of like powders and a bag and whatnot, and everyone is standing in front of him. Maomao has something in her hand, and they all have some particular look on their face. I believe that is what's coming up. Because that makes a lot of sense that it's going to be makeup, because obviously the question is, do you know how to apply it? And it's going to turn out that no. She's going to make him look like a clown, is what I'm expecting. Because as it turns out, she's only good at applying freckles to her face. Because also, if you remember back, it's like the garden party and everything, it was the other servants that had to apply makeup to her. she didn't apply makeup to herself. Also, I guess the Verdigris house put makeup on her. Yeah, no, again, I want Lock-On to reveal himself to be what apparently I now think that he is. And he is avoiding finishing the story. Well, there we go. It looks like we're going to get 2 of the things from the opening that I discussed before next episode. The one where she puts makeup on him and they all very surprised at what he looks like. And the thing I kept talking about, which apparently is not going to be the thing. That they're the alleyway thing from the opening, where I suspected it was going to be a flashback to Jinshi and someone else that was going to inspire a storyline based on Jinshi remembering the past and informing us about what currently is going on. Nope, it just looks like that's Jinshi in makeup, and that's Maomao dressed up in a way we've never seen her before. And literally, I believe the alleyway scene was them eating something, and we just saw them literally eating something there. So I was wrong. I was wrong again. But hey, at least I did the whole breakdown thing to realize what is coming up. So, as I've said, literally everything in the opening is something that has happened or will happen. And, oddly, from an artistic perspective, that we don't see in the show. Like, when Jinshi stuffs the emetic into her mouth, that is not a scene that we saw from the perspective that we see in the opening. We actually see it from every perspective but the perspective that we saw in the opening. So, I guess that is kind of a way to hide what's coming by it not being directly a shot from the show, but a shot specifically for the opening itself. When it comes to this episode, though, I think it's like something that's been happening the last couple of episodes of this arc, which is to say 75% a self-encapsulated story, and then 25% stuff that I can parse to other episodes or other mysteries that have been developing. In this case, it's literally everything that happens after she solves the mystery of the metallurgy, right? Because the mystery of the metallurgy itself was just like a hidden picture game, right? Or 13 Guest or Mist or whatever other examples I've already thrown out. It is just one of those. And nothing in that episode really feels like it matters to the overall training story, which is, again, not a bad thing. I've said this show is entertaining enough that I don't need everything to connect back to the conspiracy. But after that, when we're talking to Lock-On again, and he says, oh, if you made a mold of this, it would be a very lovely tool or whatever. Obviously, anything he says can apply to the courtesan he's talking about in the past, to Maomao in the present, or something he's setting up for the future. Literally every one of those scenes with Lock-On in is something. And when I take my notes, pause on, re-listen to, pause on, go back to again, because it could be alluding to anything. And that's clearly what I'm here doing a lot, is trying to figure out what's being said, what context the thing is being said in, and what it can apply to in past conversations to inform me about what's coming up in the future. That said, though, again, I don't think I have anything too in-depth to talk about here, other than I will be obviously going back to take notes. That said, though, I think the thing to go into now would be the Maomao's notes thing for the episode, where I anticipate to be told about lead poisoning. If I'm wrong about that, then I've been wrong during the episode as well, and that doesn't behoove me very well.
マオマオの独り言 ただいま戻りました。
ご苦労だった。それで、遺言の謎は無事に解けたのか？
鍵のかかっていたタンスを開けることはできました。
おお。であれば、その中に秘伝の書はあったか？
いいえ、鉛と鈴と特殊な金属が入っているだけでした。
I don't know what the third metal would be, though.
ここで、マオマオの豆知識。鉛は粉塵や溶ける際の蒸気を吸収することでも、毒が体内に蓄積し、中毒を起こす危険性がある。
Lead poisoning. Okay, I called that
判断
right.
使用する際は注意が必要だ。それにしても、
Just don't call it lead
あれ
poisoning,
ほ
I
ど
guess.
低温で溶ける金属を一体何に使うんだ？
I mean, there are plenty of
そりゃ、
low melting
今回
point
の
metals. I
面
just
倒
don't know
ご
which
と
one you're talking
や
about.
はり妙に乗り気だったな。
そうでしょうか。
私の頼み事の時もそうあってほしいものだ。
しかし、遺言に加えてタンスの中にも謎を仕込むとは。父親とは難儀な生き物だな。次回、街歩き。jinshi様に化粧を？一体どこへ行く気やら。お楽しみに。
Yeah, I guess this is one of the Maomao notes section that doesn't really add to any of the other information. We already knew from the next time on the episode itself that they were going to be doing makeup. I guess maybe it introduced the question, if you weren't thinking to yourself, where does he want to go like this? But I think that's just so baked into the seeing them out and about, and if you were paying attention to the opening, what the opening shows of the scenes where we see Maomao dressed like that, I guess that also implies that they're going to go to the hill. Because in my notes where I was making my guesses up from the opening, we see someone dressed like that at the hill. And again, I thought that was going to be like flashbacks to a previous jinshi relationship. But that implies that he's going to take her to the alley, and then he's going to take her to the hill. So I guess maybe we might find out more information about that other court girl that I had other theories about. Because if it turns out it's not her in the whole jinshi past thing that I keep bringing up, then I don't know, maybe she's related to Lakan, or not related, but because, you know, Lakan's servant is actually related to him. Related by which I mean has had relations. And again, the weird way you say that. Maybe she's interacting with Lakan, is the way I should say that. And if that's the case, does she have any connection to jinshi through that? I think I'm just spitting bet. I think I've gotten things so wrong based on my opening interpretation that now my brain is just whirlwinding a whole bunch of theories that makes no sense. That said, though, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up here. This is a pretty good self-encapsulating episode, so I don't exit this one with too many theories. I might re-enter with a lot of theories based on whatever I write down in my notes, but I think that's it for right now. So, that said, I have been Theta, this has been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video and what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?